This is RTP. This is RTP180.
I am here to talk to you about pot, weed, marijuana. So I'm sure that many of you feel uncomfortable by hearing those words. And not long ago, I also felt very uncomfortable by hearing those words. But now I am in the cannabis industry, and I am here to tell you why. A few years ago, a guy approached me named Matt Wilson, and he wanted to share a story with me. He was talking about his best friend, his dog, named Numi. Well, Numi was suffering from seizures, and the doctor told Matt that Numi had less than 3 months to live. Well, Matt had heard that cannabis is effective in treating seizures, but he was very skeptical and afraid to give his dog cannabis. Matt lives in one of the 33 states that you can buy cannabis, so he went to the store, bought cannabis, gave it to Numi, and Matt was shocked. It worked. Numi's seizures completely stopped. So Matt kept going back to the store over the next year, buying cannabis, but sometimes he would give Numi too much cannabis, and Numi would be on the floor sleeping, stoned. And other times, he wouldn't give enough cannabis to Numi, and the seizures came back. So what Matt found through this process is that it is very difficult to find a product that produces the same results every time in the cannabis industry. Matt went on to say that that is because every cannabis plant produces a unique combination of botanical oils, and everyone responds differently to these cannabis oils. If you're lucky, you know how much THC and CBD is in your product. However, there are many different ingredients in cannabis, and all of these ingredients have different effects on people. In fact, no two plants are alike. No two leaves on the same plant are alike. So it turns out that lack of consistency is the #1 challenge facing the cannabis industry. Matt went on to say, Nicole, for recreational users, that's fine. However, medical users, this is not acceptable. You have to have consistency when you're treating with medicine. So he said, imagine if we could create a 3D printer for cannabis, or like a soda stream for the cannabis industry. It would have the same model as a printer inkjet cartridge, but the inkjets, the cartridges would be loaded with isolated cannabinoids and terpenoids. And then Matt looked at me and he said, Nicole, can you help me make this product and take this product to market? Do you know my response? Are you freaking crazy? I am a professional. I'm in the healthcare industry. What are people going to think about me if I'm in the cannabis industry, especially in the state of North Carolina? What are my kids going to think about me? But something about this really, really intrigued me. So the next month, Matt and I attended the Cannabis Science Conference in Portland, Oregon. And over the next several days, I listened to dozens of researchers, scientists, and doctors share their experience with cannabis. And what I was really shocked about was when they would share their clinical results of treating patients with cannabis and all of these successes for even things like cancer and pain. So you know what? I decided to roll the dice and join the cannabis industry. However, I was going to keep it a secret from everybody as long as I possibly could. Well, about 2 months later, we closed our first round of funding. And Triangle Business Journal published an article which said there is a cannabis company in Raleigh, North Carolina, and lo and behold, there's a picture of me with my father from 2013 when they awarded me CFO of the Year award. And beyond that, we closed our second round of funding and more articles were published. Then the CES awarded us with the most innovative product coming to market in the at-home healthcare market, as long as we removed all references of cannabis, which we did. So we went to Las Vegas and were very successful, but all of a sudden, articles came out in TechCrunch, Geek News, Digit. It went on and on. I've been asked to do podcasts for Canna Insider. I was on Arrington Huffington's Post as a cannabis leader in the industry. We were on the front page of the Canna Investor magazine. We won the Cannabis California Award, and that's actually a picture of us on the red carpet in Los Angeles. I was even asked and accepted to be a contestant of the Marijuana Show, Season 3, which is airing on Amazon Prime, in case you guys want to see it. So as you can see, I wasn't very successful in keeping this discreet. I want to share with you some things that I've learned over the past few years. Cannabis is successful in treating a number of medical disorders, including Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cancer, pain, IBS, Crohn's, anxiety, depression. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There are 3 types of compounds in cannabis. Those are cannabinoids, terpenes, and flavonoids, and I'm going to talk to you about the first 2. You may have heard of THC and CBD. Those are the most common cannabinoids, and they have been researched the most. However, there are over 140 different cannabinoids. And each one of these cannabinoids actually have different medicinal benefits. So what's going on in the industry are healthcare providers and researchers are identifying which cannabinoids treat certain diseases. For example, reduces pain, you would use CBD, THC, CBC, CBGA, and CBN. If you're treating for insomnia, you would use CBN. However, on the other side, if you're treating for sleep apnea, you would use THC. Another example is psychiatric and neurological disorders. And what I'm trying to show is there's a lot of advancement in the cannabis industry that's going on around the nation. Take this away. The only cannabinoid of all those that I just shown, and again, there's 144 as of today, the only one that is psychoactive is THC. Patients do not want to get high. The only reason why they're treating for cannabis is they have found something that works. So what the industry is doing now is they have found creative ways to treat patients without them getting high. The most common example is starting with a very low amount of THC and a high amount of CBD, because CBD counteracts THC, and you slowly increase it, you titrate up until the patient's body builds tolerance. So eventually that patient is receiving the maximum benefit from this medicine. Or they'll do microdosing, small amounts throughout the day so they don't get stoned, or they'll do a high level of THC at night so they sleep through it, but they're receiving the maximum medicinal benefits. terpenes. Over 20,000 terpenes exist in plants. Of those, about 100 also exist in cannabis. Terpenes do not get you stoned. Examples: linalool. Linalool's in lavender. Linalool is in cannabis. Linalool relaxes you. So you would use linalool if you're treating for anxiety or insomnia. On the opposite side, pinene is from a pine tree. It energizes you and wakes you up. So you might use, if you found something for pain, linalool at night and pinene during the day. Linalool and pinene, by the way, are both used when treating for pain and inflammation. So what's going on in the industry is they are starting to combine these terpenes and cannabinoids to treat specific medical conditions. And there's going to be a lot more advancement over the next decade. According to Raphael Mechoulam, if we could reduce the medicinal cannabis deviation to 10%, then that would be a game changer for the medicinal cannabis industry. The device that we have created, it's called the O-Blend, has a deviation of less than 10%. I believe that we can help a lot of people in advance cannabis as a medicine, and that is why I am in the cannabis industry. Thank you.
All right, I'm sure